I'm just going to keep saying we're live until we're live.
We're live!
Hey!
It's not Lindsay.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's not Lindsay.
It's your Sarah.
Yeah, Ronnie and Sarah.
Be louder. Yeah, I'm not Lindsay. That's Sarah. Welcome to Tuesday.
Yeah, put your name in the chat if you are joining us today. We'd love to see you guys and hear from you. We got some fun things planned today, as always.
As always. There's no one putting their name in the chat. If you're forced to be here, drop your name. If your mom said you had to be on
That's
here,
funny.
drop your name.
It's funny. Yeah, I'm excited to do our games today.
Yes.
It'll test my abilities. Hey, Lindsay. Glad we got one supporter in the chat.
I know. It says there's 4 people on here. I wonder who the other 3 people are. Hopefully not my phone.
Lauren, hey, good to see you. Well, virtually see your name in the chat. But hey, sometime soon, hopefully.
Let's go.
Hopeful every week.
Hopefully my mom is watching. I invited her.
Oh, that's so cute.
Maybe she's on. Maybe she's not.
What's your mom's name?
Cherie.
Cherie, that's pretty.
Yeah. Hopefully. Maybe I'm talking loud enough for everyone to hear me.
You're just a quiet guy.
That's all right. Oh, why am I looking at this?
My mom used to tell me when I was younger that I didn't know how to whisper.
Hey, my wife says that about me just now.
You don't know how to whisper.
Yeah.
Sarah, what have you been doing all week?
Well, I had to get up at like 6 this morning to get like awake and ready for our theology meeting.
Okay.
It was fun. It was really good. Just to like kind of debate some things and like, it's through crew. And so it was like, what problems do you have? And so I kind of was like, oh, I didn't like this, but I like this, but I didn't like this, kind of stuff. So that was fun.
Nice.
What about you?
I've actually been practicing cooking. Mike ate macaroni and cheese that I made.
It was good.
By homemade.
It was yummy?
Yeah.
Homemade, like all of it?
All the way.
I said good. Yummy is weird to me, but good is what I said.
The only thing I did not make
good
was
is like
pasta.
some people will like lie and be like, yeah, it's good.
I mean,
no, it was really pretty good.
If it wasn't, he needs to let me know now because in Illinois, I challenged my mom to a cooking competition.
Well,
So everyone knows you don't challenge moms.
Well, I'm frying chicken and making macaroni and cheese. Yes, like I've been doing it for the last 2 days. So maybe straight. Like my kids are
training.
My kids are like legit. Like
montage.
Please stop. Yeah, it's going
Rocky.
down on Saturday. Maybe I'll go live for a little bit. But I challenged my mom and a few ladies at East Campus to a cooking competition.
I would love to see that. You guys should stream it
It's
for
going
sure.
down. So.
All right. So what are we doing today, guys?
We're not lying today.
We are.
We are lying today. Yes.
You don't have to.
We're playing a game called. Oh, hey Sylvia, good to see you there. We're playing a game called Box of Lies. So I don't know if you guys have seen Jimmy Fallon. I'm gonna give him credit where credit is due. He has a TV show. Don't know what it's called.
Jimmy Fallon, late night.
Well, there you go. And he plays games on that show every once in a while, and one of them is Box of Lies. So we're going to have 2 boxes, one for me, one for Ronnie, and in it is going to be a mysterious item that only myself and you, or Ronnie and you, get to see. And we can choose, Ronnie or I, can choose to either lie about what's in the box or tell the truth about what's in the box. So if we tell the truth, then obviously we're telling the truth, but Ronnie will have to guess if I'm telling the truth or lying, and then I will have to guess vice versa for him.
Do not try this at home. Don't lie.
Yeah, we are not endorsing lying. We are just having fun. We are just joking.
Don't lie.
It's just going to be all good fun, and I'll eventually tell you what's in the box. Don't worry.
Hopefully. This could be really
let's
good.
play rock, paper, scissors to see who should go first.
I love this. Let's get it.
Or Rochambeau, as I think.
Whoa, is that like some Ukrainian game?
That's a different game.
No, it is not.
You're incorrect.
Our producer is...
No, it's rock, paper, scissors. Rochambeau is a different game.
Whatever.
Okay.
On shoot.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Ronnie will go first.
Let's get it.
Should I turn around?
Yeah, you should definitely turn around. Ooh, the mystery box.
So
this
you
is
can
great.
show. Wait. Mine is the silver top, right?
Yeah.
Yep, I haven't seen this since last year at the retreat.
When I made it.
Yeah, this
so
is
go ahead and show the audience what you
have. A
have.
lot of glitter. All right, guys.
What is in the box?
So what is in the box is this 1900s vintage item. This has not been
Listen.
seen. This is like a Disney.
Don't look.
Don't look.
You show it to
Quit
them.
trying
and
to
then
cheat.
close
She's
it,
trying to
and then
cheat.
I look
Did
at
this
him.
has
I
come
don't
out.
get to look at Ronnie while he's lying to my face.
You can look now.
Is it close?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep my box.
That's gonna
open.
be how we're gonna play. Is we're gonna show it and then
No,
close
she's
it.
gonna see it.
Oh yeah, you're
Ronald,
right.
just close it.
Okay.
You,
All right.
It's not
Can I
like,
put my
does
hand
he
in
not
there?
have object permanence? Closes it, it's gone.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean-
Nerd joke for you guys.
Okay. So I'm not saying it's. It could be a pet.
It's an 1800s vintage item that could be a pet. You
Sarah.
are lying. You are lying. You are flat out lying. I don't even know what it
Sarah,
is.
It could.
Oh, did you just hear that?
Yeah. See, that was a clue right there. That was a clue.
It's not very heavy.
It's not.
Clearly.
It's heavy.
Definitely.
Definitely.
I don't
is.
know what it is, but you're not telling the truth.
Okay. I'll give you another clue.
I'm
If this
confused.
thing was alive.
I don't have to guess it.
No, wait. If this thing was alive, this would be a billionaire.
You said it could be a pet, and
A
now
pet-
it's not alive.
Yes, I mean
Ronnie,
theoretically.
I think
I
we
caught him.
need to re-go through the rules.
No, I can. No,
He's
we don't.
lying.
No, I can lie, but I'm telling the truth. If this
Yeah.
inanimate object was alive, this would be a celebrity in this box. That is
Okay.
me telling the truth.
We're on the same page.
So,
we're not on the same page.
Okay, I'm gonna.
It's my
Mine-
turn.
Next,
He's
next
lying.
turn.
I'm
You clearly
lying.
have lost. Yes. Show her what's in the box.
It's a millionaire.
Oh my gosh! See,
It's a minion.
It could be a pet.
it's not.
It's a
1800s and
minion.
Vintage.
It
It's a
was-
coffee mug.
I lied.
Yes.
And I caught you. That's how the game
Got
works.
it.
Oh,
All right.
now I get it.
So
Never mind.
I'm going to
no,
It's
give.
my
I don't
turn.
need it now. No,
So
no.
yeah, I'm gonna give Sarah her box.
I'm gonna turn around.
I'm gonna take
I'm gonna turn
Ronnie's
around.
box.
I'm gonna turn around.
Sarah
Jeez.
will look in the
Hot
box.
mess central.
Oh,
She
God.
will look in the box. She will determine what it is. She'll show you, and then she will make either a true statement or a lie about what it is.
I know what it is.
Okay.
Can I guess now?
Yeah.
It's probably dinosaurs. Let's get it.
It's not a dinosaur.
It's probably plastic dinosaurs.
It's not a dinosaur,
Okay.
but it is celestial.
Celestial. Is that like an alien?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So then it's
Cheater!
it is okay. What?
Andrew says he loves this game.
Okay.
I really think we need to go over the rules.
I know
the
the rules.
I know them now, maybe.
What is in my box?
What's in your box? It's a
What-
box. What
What
shoes
is
go in a box?
your statement?
You
What
have
is
to
your
claim
truth
what
statement?
it is.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. He did not do that.
Yes, agreed. So tell Ronnie what is in your box.
It's a lightsaber.
It's a lightsaber. Oh my gosh, is it Mike's? No. Shake it. Yeah, it's definitely not that Jedi book, his nerd book.
No.
The Wisdom of the Jedi, a Christian's understanding of the way Jedi works.
Shut
It's-
up.
that's-
Is
It's
it-
a real book. It's on my shelf.
I'm very uncomfortable
No.
that you own that.
It's a lightsaber.
It's not a lightsaber.
It's blue.
It's not a lightsaber. It is definitely.
It's a blue
I'm
lightsaber.
gonna think how Sarah would think. Sarah.
It is celestial, Star Wars.
Lie?
Blue
Or
lightsaber.
true?
It's
Is
a
she
lie.
lying?
She's lying. You're a liar.
All right, show.
There's star clown glasses.
Yes, it was not a lightsaber.
No. But now
So,
do you understand the
we're-
game? You have to claim
We're
what it
learning.
is.
We're learning here
You
that
did it wrong the first time.
Okay, I mean, Sarah, I do a lot of things wrong.
I'm gonna turn away.
I do a lot of things wrong in this life. I am ready to show you guys what I got in my box. There are multiple things now. Sarah,
Can I turn around?
go ahead and turn around, and I'm gonna let you know in my box that this is everything you need to be at a concert.
Okay, now what is the item in there?
I have a flashlight and I have a Justin Bieber picture.
Picture?
Yes, a vintage picture. Justin Bieber.
Okay.
I have a
A flashlight
Yes.
and a Justin Bieber picture.
Yes.
I believe you.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I show
You
her?
show me.
Yeah.
But Mike,
Yeah?
What if it was correct and I did actually have a flashlight?
Oh my
And a
gosh,
picture of
you
Justin.
did! Where did you get this? This exists at our church.
The 24/7.
Why?
What
It's
do you,
from the 24/7
College
office.
students are weird.
what do you mean?
Okay, so I think we're learning that they are really struggling. This
should
is a
probably-
good problem to have, that they can't
We're
lie
bad
effectively.
liars.
I don't want
Turn
to
around.
lie to Sarah. Have you ever seen Sarah get mad?
Okay. I have here this. Oh, I just about fell off my chair. This
Youth ministry is dangerous.
and this thing as well. And also this thing.
We're not doing this.
Okay, you can turn around.
All right, let's get it.
Okay,
Lady Gaga.
no. In my box
All right.
is a dolphin squirt gun and a cowboy wheel spigot.
A wheel spigot. I've heard of a water spigot, but a wheel spigot. So like a four-way.
Maybe.
What's the four-way's not fitting in that. Sarah, I believe that you're lying, and I would like to say shake the box. Mike, didn't you lose the spigot last year and we had to go to Lowe's to buy a new one?
Maybe.
I swear I remember like you and Emma and I having to go do this when I was first on staff. I'm gonna trust and believe that there is a spigot in there, but there is no dolphin.
No, you gotta pick. Either I'm telling the truth or I'm lying.
You're a liar.
I'm lying? Wha-bam! Look at that!
What is this?
It's a wheel spigot.
What?
Isn't that not what that's called?
What
That is clearly a spur.
Oh!
Yeah. I got her. She's a liar.
I
She's
didn't know
a
what
liar.
it was called.
She's a
What did
liar.
you call
Spigot.
that?
A wheel
Spigot. I was like, you put this in the hole and you twist and the water comes out. That's a spigot, kids at home.
Oh.
And a water.
It's a dolphin squirt gun.
There's no water, so it's just a dolphin. I win.
This is called a spurt. No, you were incorrect.
That's not a
From
spigot.
limited knowledge, come on.
No.
I don't know.
I clearly explained what I thought a spigot was, and I was correct, Mike, right or wrong.
I'm saying your definition is correct. But what I am saying is also, if you don't know what this is called, what are you going to call it?
What
No,
A wheel
water
spigot.
Not a water
A
spigot.
wheel spigot.
The thing
Like
that
a
goes on the
Pokemon
back
fight.
of Woody's shoe.
I point for me.
No.
Point for me.
I can't.
Not
If you
in
think I was right, put it in the chat below.
If you think she was wrong, just
Don't say anything.
Just continue not to say anything. Oh.
It was
wow.
basically a wheel spigot.
All right, let's do this. Turn around. Turn around.
Every time.
Turn around. All right. Oh, wow. So right here, this right here.
Can I turn around?
No. And this right here. This is awesome. I don't know what in the world you
Can I
would
turn
do with
around
all of this. No. I have to.
It's paper.
It's not paper. That's the paper out your phone is under.
That wouldn't make
Your
any
phone
sense.
is under
Paper and glitter.
Can I turn around?
Yep. Turn around.
Stop.
All right.
every time.
All right. So Sarah, what I have in my box is
Andrew, where is your loyalty?
I am his brother.
Andrew just threw me under the bus. This is why you're not the favorite intern. I just want that to
But
be
you're
clear.
always going to be my
Oh,
brother
right.
from a different mother with the same heavenly father. So to
Okay.
keep going,
Yeah.
is in here.
Uh-huh.
I have. All right. I have a
Why
handwritten
don't you
letter.
think of that lie?
No, it's not even a lie. Like there's, I'll give it to you. There is paper in here. I actually have a letter from Mike to Heather asking her out. His freshman year of high school.
No.
And, oh yeah, and a picture
A picture
of their first hug.
of your first hug. You guys documented your first hug?
Have you met my wife?
They have
At
everything
youth
documented. Yeah, they met at youth group.
I knew that. Well, actually,
I
you
have-
happened to go to the same youth group, right? And then
Yeah.
you were like, she's cute. I want to get to know her.
Yeah.
And then you
It's-
also went to the same school?
They went to West High.
Also correct.
They went to West High together.
We graduated from high school. the same-
Jude, I
the
know
same
that
year.
Mike and Heather trivia. Come at me.
I have
Don't
a
at me, bro.
handwritten letter Let me check it again, make sure who it's from. From Heather to Mike. And a picture.
Oh, but earlier you said it was Mike to Heather asking her out.
The handwriting was a little sketchy.
He's lying.
You can think I'm lying. But
You're totally lying.
Do you know? Wait.
Why are you getting defensive?
I'm not going to get defensive. I'm just going to ask you this question.
If you think he's lying, let me know.
But
Sylvia gave us half points earlier, and I'll take it.
If you know Heather DeWard, you would know that she scrapbooks everything.
She's not I don't think Heather's going to write a letter to Mike, because from what I know about Mike pursuing his wife, she was oblivious for quite some time.
I wouldn't say oblivious. It is Mike. High school Mike was awkward, so you might want to be oblivious to it.
I don't know. I think you're telling a lie. I don't think you're telling the truth.
Right.
Get wrecked.
3, 2, 1.
Get wrecked. It definitely is not a letter.
Yes!
It's a receipt to the new 9
Context clues, right? Like, I'm correct, as in Heather didn't know that you were, like, trying to date her.
First, freshman year was wrong.
Ooh, was that?
Sophomore year, and it was really junior year when I pursued.
He said you guys.
I knew that you
He
guys
said
dated
you
in
were
high school.
dating in middle school.
No, I knew that they went to middle school together. But no,
Oh.
you didn't go to
No.
middle school because you lived
I
on
went
opposite
to
ends.
Northwest, and she went to Heritage
Yep, forgot.
Christian School.
Whoa, way to go, Heather.
Northwest.
Way to go. Brechtels for sending your kid to Christian school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's
All right,
mine.
I'm gonna not look.
That's good, because that's the.
That's kind of cheating.
Okay, here we have.
A signed letter from Justin Bieber.
I wish. And
The phone number to the White House.
What?
The phone number to the White House.
Oh.
That's actually a public
the
number.
White House's address is
Can I look now?
15 Pennsylvania Avenue,
You're.
something like that.
Oh.
Okay.
You can call the White House. You can actually Google. It doesn't mean it's gonna.
I mean, it's not like the president's going to answer you. Okay.
You never know that.
Yeah.
Don't rain on my parade.
It's already rained. It just rained outside. Okay. What is in this box is a trophy. Is it? Is it a trophy in the box?
It is.
Bet.
It's a trophy in the box.
It is. Open it.
You think I'm telling the truth?
Yes.
It's not a trophy in the box.
This is the most.
Ronnie, you.
What is this, like Princess
This is
Leia's?
a
Is this like
coconut bra.
Princess Leia's
It's
like
a coconut
hair?
bra and a squishy pumpkin.
I legit feel like they took this to like Princess Leia's head and they were just like,
If we
and they're like, what are
we're
you?
keeping score.
Like, what if we just took her hair, flipped it over, and then put it on, and like this was her hair? That's ridiculous. That is the most idiotic
if
thing ever.
we were keeping score, which we're not, but I am, I have 2.5 and Ronnie has 0.5.
Coconuts don't even grow in Iowa. Where'd you get it from? Are they even
Closet.
real?
In the
Swallow.
24/7.
Swallow brought it.
And this.
And a squishy pumpkin.
A
All right.
It's gone.
Trash.
It's gone forever.
That pumpkin.
Wow.
All right. This is Ronnie's last.
If you were
box.
voting for me to win, great choice.
You know what, Sarah? You actually are losing. And so what we have in this box is this. It's kind of cool.
What time is it?
It's doodle
almost 3:50.
time. No, I'm just kidding. And I have this.
Can't generate
Doodle,
flashbacks.
it's doodle time. Flashback Tuesday. All right, turn around.
Okay.
So what I have in this box is I have candy from our Christmas party and a Christmas ornament.
What kind of candy?
Kind of candy, peppermints.
That sound pretty light, which an ornament is pretty light. Can you shake it one more time?
Team Sarah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Ronnie.
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm feeling loved by the audience right now. I think that you.
Oh,
might be.
Andrew's Team Ronnie. It's going for the brotherly love.
Thank you. But-
Andrew is any team that's not Sarah. Let's be honest.
Sylvia is Team Ronnie.
Wow.
We're
Sylvia.
making the shirts now. It's got Ronnie's face on one side.
Are we gonna be like the Twilight? Can I
Yeah.
be?
They have to show up to
Yep.
the youth group and we'll know who they're for.
Can I be Edward and you be the Taylor Lautner dude?
No, because I was Team Edward when I watched Twilight, so I want to be his team.
The best part was you did the hair flick and then said it.
I clearly my hair's not straight.
Lauren, what team are you for? Me or Ronnie? There is a right answer.
I wish my mom was on here. I'm really upset that she's not. It doesn't seem like she is.
Well,
She
she's
might
not.
also just not know how to put comments on the chat.
Yeah, she's a boomer, so.
I
Okay,
think you're
boomer.
telling the truth.
You think I'm telling the truth? Well, Sarah, you are in luck. Because actually, I was lying to you, and this is balloons,
Oh my
but an
gosh.
ornament.
Oh, you were partially telling the truth.
Partially lying.
So I was 0.5 for me because he was telling
Point,
the
how
truth.
does one score 0.5?
Because Sylvia gave us 0.5 points, and
Sarah,
for the one that
0.5.
Ronnie arguably has been the best person for this game, but I'm still not sure if he understands how the game is.
Mike,
played.
I should tell you about how when I first started playing poker with Travis, that's at Harvest City, that was great. I don't play. I go all in all the time.
Okay.
I don't know how this game is played, so I bet all of the things.
Full house, baby.
Woo!
In my box, I have
A box of chocolates.
Yep.
this,
Okay.
which is not biblical, by the way, in case you're wondering.
Wait, that's not?
It's definitely not a Bible. Okay.
Lauren is team both.
All right, let's get it. Shake it.
You don't have to guess what's in it.
Okay.
She has to tell you,
But I want to
and you
guess.
determine if she's
What do
lying
you
or
think
not.
it is?
I think I have an abstract view of like Christmas because like I just want to shake it and figure out what's in the box. But lie to me.
That's a different game.
I know, Mike. It's my childhood.
That's what's in this
Lie.
box.
What kind of game is he? Oh, what's
Yeah.
in the box,
Box,
not is
Yeah.
she telling the truth about what's in the box?
Okay, lie.
Which, in this box, is a miniature Lucifer.
Sarah, that's a lie. You would never hold that in a box nor allow us to be on camera with it. That is a lie.
You're right. It's not. It's a
I'm
miniature
so-
baptism in a bottle.
Wash your sins. Is this biblical?
No, it's bubble bath.
Baptism in a. Can we please stop now? This is strangely uncomfortable. Wow.
Also found in the 24/7 office.
They're weird.
College kids, man.
College kids, man.
That's what I say.
Gosh, stay in junior high.
Look at
ministers
all
while
those
you can.
laughing faces. Well,
So
that's our last one, right?
Yeah, there are no more now.
That concludes this segment of Get Glitter Everywhere and
I'm wearing all
play
black.
Just for the
Box
record,
of Lies.
that part of the segment is not over. Glitter will be everywhere regardless of what you want.
So thanks for playing. I'm
What's
sorry
that?
I destroyed you.
Just Sarah, 0.5.
I
I'm not
got
even,
3. You have 1.
Sarah, can I say that mean thing I always say to you, but I'll
Yeah.
whisper it?
You know that's not true.
Okay.
Which is why you say
Maybe
that.
that's probably because I didn't make it to varsity.
Did you?
wrestling.
Did you make it?
Were you
on
on varsity?
I was honorable mention all conference, you turds.
Were you really?
Yeah.
One time.
I
once.
started both ways my senior year.
I was like I've lived in
I
Iowa for 5 years.
actively
And
participated.
What size was your school?
4A.
you went to
biggest
West
one?
High.
I was as
Biggest Joaquin?
yeah.
Well, it's just strange because
How
I've
dare you?
lived in
My
Iowa for
team
5 I've never
Number
heard.
1 at the beginning of the year.
So
We went 5 and 4.
The
But at the
debate that's
beginning of the
happening
year,
that
we
you're
were ranked
hearing-
number 1.
This is very strange.
Ronnie likes to make fun of me. And he says that I didn't make varsity sports in high school, which if you
Correction.
wanted to keep tabs on Sarah and look at the stats, I made varsity freshman to senior year.
I just tell Sarah
Then
that
I
I don't
asked him-
argue with anyone that didn't make varsity.
And then I asked Mike, did he make varsity? And now
Now we're.
I'm gonna be fired.
But does it count to be
I
varsity in
made
football?
Varsity.
I
Does
don't
it-
know.
I just don't know because
Do they have junior varsity football games?
I mean, I guess.
Yes!
I mean, like,
I coached JV.
hey,
How do you guys not know this?
what do you call
because
it?
I don't care about football.
What do you call a JV varsity?
Did they have JV soccer games?
Yeah, because
But
there were
did-
so
but
many
did you-
girls.
but did-
Yeah.
But did you get like that cool phone call where you're like chilling in your parents' front room and then they're like Mike DeWar, CCA, blah blah, All American. He's getting traded to the Green Bay Packers. Like if you never
No.
had that, so then we're not.
That
arguing.
hypothetical.
Then Sarah and I are not
situation
going to argue with the person that did not make it to the draft.
could never have happened I never attended
We're done.
CTA.
We don't talk to anyone who didn't make NFL
Yeah.
starting salary $2.5 million.
Right, and then get that weird promo
Also
video.
not
With
correct.
that weird promo video where they're like holding a football and they're just like. Well, moving on.
Okay, let's bring it back in.
Ooh, do I get to do this part yet?
Yes. So now we're gonna have a little more serious time. Mike is really upset and needs to remove himself just to take
Our
a deep breath.
producer.
You people.
Our producer.
So, I don't know you as well as I might know Lindsay or Andrew. So this is a good time for us to just talk about life and talk about Jesus and just the ways that he has redeemed us and our experience as different believers. And like you accepted Christ how long ago now?
Ooh, I first accepted Christ when I was 13 years old.
Wow.
But I always say that I started walking in my own faith at 21, 22.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, how many years?
You want me to do math?
Yeah,
13? Oh my gosh, probably like 12, 13 years. But the real walking years, I would say in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Real walking.
That's cool. That's really cool.
On my own. I do have a question for you. Let's see if I can do it like Jim Douglas. No, didn't work.
Not the same.
All right. My question for you, Sarah, is who influenced your faith?
So, this is kind of a complicated question for me, just because a lot of people have influenced my faith over the last year. But I will say there was one particular person in my family that has been really such a light that I didn't even know was following Christ until a couple weeks ago. And it is my great grandma. Her name is Salida, and she is just such a pillar in our family that I didn't even know was truly walking with the Lord. And ever since I was little, I would go and visit her for like Thanksgiving or like family times, and she'd always be there. And she would always say like, God bless you, and, you know, like affirm people and truly love us well, and just so act like Christ in our home. And then a couple weeks ago when it was Mother's Day, I called her and I just wanted to let her know that I had been walking with Jesus for a year. And she told me that ever since, she's been praying for everyone in our family by name to come to know the Lord. And so that's just crazy for my entire life since I was born to now. My great grandma has been praying for me to come to know Christ, and I finally did just a year or two ago. So that's so cool to me.
Yeah.
It's super impactful and encouraging to be prayerful and just show that like you never know what seeds are going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
So, Ronnie, you said you accepted Christ when you were 13, but you've really been actively walking in the last 5-10 years. What changed? What was the moment where you were like, I want to start living this out?
Long story short, I was in a bad relationship. And I had to make this weird decision. I wouldn't say weird decision. I was looking for approval from people, and that was very apparent in my Christian walk. And I remember as I was going home, I was looking at the Bible, and I wanted to make this relationship in my life fit into this bubble. Like I wanted to be I want to be a certain way, and I want to bring this love of the Lord and Christianity, or at least what I thought, into one. And I came across this, I can't remember the exact text, but it says that you cannot serve two masters. You either have to love one or hate the other. And
I think that's in Matthew.
Yeah, and I remember that one, it was something lit my soul on fire. And I remember I had to go home and I had to end this relationship.
Wow.
And that transpired me leaving this former life and going full-fledged towards Christ.
That's so cool.
Yeah. My question for you, let's see if I can do it again. Don't do that. Just, that
very
was
aggressive.
Not planned.
Violent for no reason.
When your days are hard, how does your faith play a role?
Yes. So this is actually something I was kind of thinking about earlier when we're reading a book as a staff team, and one of the parts in chair 3, you'll know what that means, talked about how like in that place there's quite a bit of struggle.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was after accepting Christ in a year ago or so, there has been a lot of struggle, even if it's just small things like it's like the process of dying to yourself now after living like what was it like 18, 19 years of just doing whatever I wanted my way and not really caring about anyone else. Now like trying to live more selfless is like pulling teeth. It's like a moving vehicle was going that way and now you're trying to like turn it around, and so it's been really difficult. But for me, there's a couple of things. So the first piece of scripture I ever memorized was actually at the start of my summer mission last year. And it is Psalm 31:7, which if you are around me, you know I quote it a lot. But it is that I will trust in your unfailing Lord, or your unfailing love, my Lord, for you know the anguish of my soul. And so I just think that is so, so impactful that like this amazing God of the universe that like to be honest shouldn't really have saved me because I didn't deserve it at any point, and I will never deserve it because of my sinful nature. Cares not even enough to save me, but to know about the anguish of my soul, like it's just such a picture of his intimacy. And so I think that just really it helps me rest in him, just depend on him for so much life. Especially because in the Old Testament, there's a woman named Hagar who didn't have the best of circumstances, and some of them weren't her choice, some of them were, but she also says that, that I love this God who sees me. And so I think those concepts go together, that like God sees me, and you and everyone, and he cares about the anguish of our souls. And so when I'm having a hard time, I really, really meditate there. And I also meditate on just like how much Jesus wants to take the things that are weighing me down. He literally says, like, give me those heavy burdens. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. And I was talking to a friend about this the other day who I really want to come to know Christ. And I was like, I asked him, I said, do you know what a yoke is? And he was like, no. And so I said, well, it's this farming tool that you hook up oxen to and they pull the plow. And so if you don't have an ox with a yoke, it can't pull the plow, and it also can't go in step with the ox next to it. So it's such a picture of community, such a picture of like purpose and drive, but also like if you put a dog in that yoke, it wouldn't be able to pull it like an ox would. No. And so I really think sometimes humanity tries to put ourselves in this yoke that was never meant for us. Like, I'm not supposed to save someone else. I'm not Jesus for them. And also, I can't be Jesus for myself. Like, I really need to understand who I am and what my yoke is and what my yoke isn't. And so I think that those two things, being known in my suffering, but also knowing what I was meant to carry and what I wasn't, is where I go when I'm struggling. So that was very long-winded. I'm sorry. But I also have another question for you. We're just going to go back and forth, back and forth. So I would like to know, what would you tell your middle school self? So you said you accepted Christ when you were 13. 13-year-olds are a little crazy, a little wild. But what is something that you think your 13-year-old self needed to hear, whether it's about your faith or about just your identity, whatever it might be? 7th and 8th, I think.
So yeah, I would have been in 8th grade. If I was telling my 13-year-old self, man, it is okay to let people know who you really are.
Mm.
The reason I say that, not to go too far into it, is a lot of my family is not Christian as well, and we were always taught, put the brave face on, even if you are upset, even if things are internally going on, you put that brave face on and you move forward. And a lot of the times I am a stuffer, so stuffing emotions, not letting them out, and not really sharing them. So I really would have told myself, like, man, it's okay to talk about these things, and not hide behind things, and like knowing as a Christian that you can suffer with other people and letting them into that suffering. I I still have to work on letting people in to that, because sometimes when I tell people things that are like hard and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, and I care for you, like my defenses are like, whoa, crazy, get out of here, like don't come past that wall. So that's what I would tell myself is like,
Sure.
man, it's okay, and let people into that struggle. Don't carry that burden alone.
Yeah, man, I think I needed to hear that too. I think at some point everyone does, right? Like sometimes it feels safer to be isolated, but
Yeah.
that's not true.
No, not at all.
Yeah, cool.
Well,
My turn.
wait, it's mine.
That's what I meant. It's my turn to answer questions.
Oh, I was like, it's mine. My next one is, what is something you're really wanting to see
thirsty,
God
I'm
do in
sorry.
your life?
Gotta go get that water bottle.
Hey, hydrate or dihydrate?
This live cast is sponsored by Sarah's water bottle.
Yep.
Hydro flask.
Okay.
Not really. What is something you're really wanting to see God do in your life or in this season? I don't like that word.
I was not ready for that question. Something that I want God to do in my present, my current.
Yeah, like what are you wanting to see him do?
Oh my goodness. So I don't think I have any one answer for this, but I'm just gonna pick the first one that comes to mind.
Okay.
Because there's so many things that I want God to do with me. But whether or not that's in the cards is really up to Him. And there's probably so much more that He needs to do with me too. I think for me this summer, my intention was going into it, which hasn't changed, but the circumstances in which it has changed. So I really wanted to be devoted to the Lord, both in my singleness, but also in my time. And those are very Christian words, but essentially, like, I feel like, looking back at the last year, I don't think I did a good job of isolating my focus to Christ. I think He was in my focus, but I think it was kind of on my terms or in ways that I wanted it to, whether it was a relationship or a friendship or in a specific environment with specific people. Whatever that was, I think it was like, yes, I want Jesus and I want Him to be my everything, but I also want these things, and I don't know how to let these two go, so I'm just going to have them all. And that's not really how it works. And so this summer, I felt like the Lord was calling me to be like, just spend time with me, just me. You don't need all those other things. I just want you. I went so far for you, and yet you can't really kind of, like, it's like you kind of keep looking back, or you kind of look at other things. And there's scripture reference as to why that's like important to not look back, right? Jesus talks about it, same thing, not fit for the plow, that kind of stuff. But also I think, like, I had a dream. This is weird. I had a dream that kind of put this into perspective, and it was, I got to heaven and I was talking to God, and I realized as I was having a conversation with Him how little I knew. It's like waking up one day and you're married to someone who's a complete stranger. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And it, like, scared me. It showed me how little of an effort I was putting towards Him to be devoted to know Him and be with Him, as if, like, I actively believed that we were in a relationship together. And I don't really think that's something that I was doing the first couple of months after being a Christian or deciding to become a Christian, because I didn't know. I didn't know the kind of effort that it takes to actively be in a relationship with someone. And I also thought it could be on my own terms, which is not a healthy relationship. And so I think right now that's just what I would hope the Lord is doing in my heart is, whatever the circumstances, whatever variables are in my life or aren't in my life, I'm devoted to the Lord, and He truly is enough for me. And I know Him intimately. Because when you make the decision to follow Christ, it's because you do understand that He's enough for you. But I think that kind of active surrendering of the things that you also want, laying those things down and counting the cost, is something that I want to grow in. Because I think it's easy to say that I do that, but I don't know that I sustain that consistently. So that is for me. So my turn. Question for you. So as you're a dad and you're leading your home and you're doing all of these things, what is just like a spiritual gift that you think the Lord has blessed you with? Because I think the hardest thing to do for us sometimes is to talk about things that are good in us. I'm a very hard critic on myself. So, like, praise the Lord for what He's done in you, and what is a spiritual gift that you think He's blessed you with?
If Connie could be considered a spiritual gift.
You can't choose your wife. That's like such a youth pastor answer.
Whoa.
No, but in all honesty, I'll segue into my spiritual gift. The reason I say that is because Connie is like my polar opposite in every which way, where I can be like super hard, like come down with the hammer. She's like that. She's like, I'm not the gavel. Stop it now. You're not. But
Yeah.
she's just super like. I don't. There's this thing where it says marriage is not supposed to make you happy. It's supposed to make you holy. Happiness is something that comes from marriage.
Huh.
But the reason I say that is because she is just my opposite. But I took the spiritual test just because
You
I was
did.
being discipled through a guy named John McHale, that was a
Yeah.
community groups pastor here. And he encouraged me as I got on staff, find out what my spiritual gifting is. And one of them, I'd never heard of this one, is called mercy giving. And I'm like, what in the world is that?
Wow.
And mercy giving it's just being able, and condensing this, is being able to see things and forgive them and being able to look at the whole picture.
Wow.
I notice sometimes when I look at things or when I become angry, I don't have a flight personality, but I like to flight when things are just too much. But it allows me to paint the whole picture and be like, hey, where do you point the finger at this person, but where are you pointing it back at yourself? And for me, I have this weird, sometimes it can be my crutch in life, being able to forgive, even some of the hardest of things. And I feel like that's a gift that I've had to learn, because it's easier. If we're being honest, we can look at our past life, we can look at things that people have done to us, and we can literally harbor bitterness. And if we're being honest, when you're angry and you think about like, oh man, God forgave me at my worst, and I need to forgive this person, you will really find some things out about yourself like, nope, I want to be angry. And for me, I just feel like that's just a great gift that I have, is being able to be forgiving and letting go. So that's a gift that is a gift, and sometimes it's still working.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool though. Spiritual gift test. I've
Yeah.
never taken one.
Take it.
I should.
If you need to make your statement about all personality tests and stuff.
I almost did, but I held it back because I don't think that's a personality test.
Agreed.
Personality tests.
I don't like personality tests.
Really?
I do not like them at all.
I don't either, because I feel like they try to put you in a box, and I've never wanted to be boxed in
Really?
to anyone. Like there's this one where it's like colors, and I come up as, what is it, orange and blue, and orange is like
isn't that like a Florida football team?
Yeah, isn't it the Gators?
That is
It's not
that
the
is
Gators.
the Gators colors.
Oh, dude,
So I am
right
proud
on.
of-
I don't even
I'm
like
proud
sports.
of myself for knowing that.
And I'm
I'm
like,
so
is-
proud of both. of
I was
you.
like, is it the Gators?
They have
But
like
yeah.
a blue football field. It's gross.
It's,
Their
yes,
turf is blue.
No.
It's strange. I've actually been on turf
That
for
would
the
be
first time.
Boise State,
Really?
which is also
Blue and orange.
I mean, yeah, but their colors are more blue and white.
Whatever. I was basically right.
Whatever. Who cares? No
Football's
one-
not a sport.
It's really not. It's a ball and a bunch of. It's like you're purposely trying to get a concussion.
If it is a sport, it's not a very hard sport.
Yeah, and you can't play for.
It's
a
all right.
There's no longevity.
Just suit up and we'll see.
There's no longevity.
Say what you want, but put on some pads.
But can we ask
can
the
have some
question
fun.
like
Oh,
how
we don't
is?
talk to people who didn't make the draft.
Yeah, I don't. Like he doesn't have a draft video. He doesn't have a football cameo video of throwing the football up with a Nike shirt talking about All
It's funny.
American.
Yeah.
He's just our youth pastor.
I'm just kidding. We're kidding. It's all in love.
It's all good. We
Okay.
love you, Mike.
Back in.
Yes. So, man, Sarah, one of my favorite moments of you.
Oh boy.
Yes, my favorite moments is yesterday. We were sitting in a meeting, and I want to know where this came from. Is someone had made a statement, and you literally pushed the table back, and you're like, "Wait, I am an evangelical girl, and I like to witness." And I was just like, "Whoa, I've just never seen someone go hardcore."
About missions?
Yeah, about mission. You're like, "No, I like shit."
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Because when
So-
you did it, I was like, "Whoa, what is that?"
I guess I don't really talk about it. I think I just assume people know it about me, which is, probably my first problem. But like missions, man, I love missions. I think they're so important. I love it. Not even, you can evangelize and not go on mission too. So like let's even just scope back. I do like evangelism.
Yeah.
And I know in our book it talks about this guy who just kind of goes and walks up to people and shares his faith, which is hard to do. But that's the kind of stuff that I love. I wish I did it more. But it's all about where you put your time, and you can't allocate your time in a bunch of places because then each of them get less effort. But
Yeah.
anyway, long story less long. I love missions and I love evangelism because if no one stepped out and took a step of faith to share their faith and evangelize, to me, I wouldn't have become a Christian.
Yeah.
That's how God used evangelism and missions and this organization that I'm a part of to reconcile me to himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that I'm technically, like, people in the United States are not unreached. Being unreached means that you don't know anyone who is a Christian or how to become one or even any concept of Christianity.
Yeah.
But I would say that I have something or had something more in common with an unreached person than I did with a reached person for most of my life. And I don't want that to be the case for so many people. So if I'm in the United States and I'm not going on mission, then I'm going to be sharing my faith. If I'm on mission overseas, then I'm going to be sharing my faith, because regardless, there are people who are lost and don't know Christ.
Absolutely.
And might not know people who know Christ either, because that was also me. And it's just crazy. And so, like, when I meet people who don't really see the purpose behind the Great Commission or behind living on mission, like, I'll hear, like, oh, well, I just want to live, like, relationally. I'm like, that's really awesome. But if you don't ever, step into sharing your faith, then, like, we're missing so much of the Bible and God's plan. So many times, even in the Old Testament to the New Testament, it talks about God's heart for the world. Missions, let all nations. So, like, be still and know that I am God doesn't stop there. Actually, the next line of that verse is to then let everyone around the world know my name and exalt me. And so it's like God's heart from the beginning to the end is so clearly about more than just, like, loving each other. It's like loving each other and making him known. And that I think that making him known part can just get lost. And so, like, I'll just be over here and, like, celebrating and doing the Great Commission and the Great Commandment together.
Our producer is raising his hand.
Yes.
Yeah, just a reminder that the greatest form of love is giving somebody Jesus.
Yeah.
That when we say things like, I want to just love people, that the reality is every time that we don't share Jesus with people, we're withholding love.
Yeah. Wow.
Because, Jesus is his greatest sacrifice, his greatest moment is the greatest act of love ever given.
Mm-hmm.
A perfect, blameless person dying for someone full of imperfection.
Hey Cyrus, thanks for joining us. Just to give you some context, I'm answering the question, why do I like evangelism and missions? And the last point I think I will say is Jesus' last words on this earth for the Great Commission, to go out and make your faith multiply, and just truly, like, making him known, if you truly understand the gospel and you truly understand how miraculous it is that all of these people who don't deserve even an ounce of kindness from the Lord get the most beautiful blessing that we could ever have. You truly get that and you're truly changed by that, you're not going to want to keep that a secret, right? Like, it floors me. And I think every day I, like, at some point experience the depravity that I would have been without Christ. Like, I just see it and I'm like, man, good thing God chose to save me in this world. And I find it in my speech sometimes of, like, just saying things that, like, are Christian or, like, from the Bible, and people, like Lindsay yesterday in the car was like, you talk about Jesus a lot. And that's really awesome. And I was like, oh, I don't even notice. And it's just because, like, I just truly get it and I want it to be known that if he chose his last words to be that, like, that was purposeful. Everything he did was purposeful. And so I just get behind that. I could talk about it on and on and on. And I guess that might be a way that the Lord has blessed me, is to, like, there is no place I wouldn't go to share the gospel, truly. Someone even asked me if I'd go to Antarctica, and I probably wouldn't enjoy it most of the time, but I would still go. I don't do well with cold.
It's all right. No one does. I guess some people do.
Yeah. So I have a question for just, like, career choice. Like, what brought you to being a youth pastor? Like, you could have done anything else. You could have been a worship pastor. You could have been, who knows, Dave Let's Go. Like, what? You could have done anything. And you're like, I want to work with kids that don't listen all the time, but are cute and friendly and also really annoying, sometimes smelly.
Not friendly.
And also, like, your daughter's in the ministry too, and so.
We got both of them.
Yeah, it's true. Both. All your kids.
Yeah. How I got to that is, man. Where I told you I was always looking for affirmation. I don't know if I said that. Maybe this is
I think you did.
Weird conversation. But yeah, so I was always looking for affirmation in things that I was doing, or looking for approval in who I was dating, what I was doing, what I wasn't doing. Even down to, like, when my freshman year at this community college, like, the classes I was taking. my background is in banking.
Really?
Yeah, so my mom is like
I did not know
in
that.
baking, just like Mike's mom. Go Bankers. My mom is in BSA, so she's like Bank Secrecy Act, so she handles fraud.
What? Oh,
Yeah, so she's like
wow.
one of those people. And I was just like, I always looked up to my mom, so I'm like, I'm gonna go into banking, forget all of this. And I did, and it was cool, but it wasn't something that I wanted to do. And it was just always like, man, this is just good money. And I met my wife, beautiful woman, chased her 3 hours down here to
Heard about
propose to
that.
her while she's washing dishes. And I ended up taking this job at Midwest One Bank. Great bank. But I got into something that's called it's back office. And I forget the exact title, but I was in something called cards. And it wasn't fulfilling at all. I had 3 coworkers, and I would do reports from 8:30 a.m. till 5 o'clock at
Oh
night.
my goodness.
And I remember as I was doing it, it was crazy, and it pushed me. And what was super funny, and it was that God was showing me that even though this was hard, I was telling myself I was going to quit, and like I just remember like just praying, and I'm just like, you know what, Lord, I'm going to stick this out for one more year, and I'm just going to give it my all and do it, and I'm done with this. I was driving home one night, and I was talking to my wife, and I'm just like, you know, I had been volunteering for Mike and Andrew for about a year at this time, and was just super invested. Mike painted like this picture of like when I came on into student ministries, as because Julie Tweet was here, then Mike took over that position. And man, like Mike, like I don't know if you get to sit down with Mike DeWard, and like for him to like talk to you about things, he's super passionate. And he was just explaining these are the things that we're doing, and it's not that he was like gave me like this pipe dream of it's going to be amazing, but just to see the passion in it, and seeing some of the kids that I got to hang out with. The kids that I worked with were Trey Montgomery, Connor Bode, I could be saying his last name. Bond.
Connor for real.
Connor for real. Seth Overton.
Yeah.
And oh my God, what is Zeke's last name? Spin's last name.
Zach
Mosier.
Mosier.
So that's
yeah.
my original group of they were 7th grade dudes. And just to see how the Lord was working in their life, just in the 7th grade Federated Alliance is still a group me chat that Mike and I had started with our.
You started.
It was called what?
The 7th grade Federated Alliance. Let's not get into it.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a handshake and everything.
Wow.
But just to seeing how their life was just being changed in that, and how I got into youth group, and like my life was changed like that, and really feeling called to it. And I felt like whenever I was here, that was when I felt most fulfilled. That's where I was just like, no, this is where I want to put all my energy. And it's like how you said, you see people knowing who the Lord is. My biggest passion is for young people to know that there's a God that cares for you. And it's not just like this God cares for the kids who go to, the people who go to big church.
Yeah.
But there's like God cares for you at this age where you are right now. He loves you. And I have the unique opportunity to work on the east side.
Yeah.
There's not that many churches on the east side, but there are not that many youth groups. And I feel like, you know, God placed Parkview on the east side to do that. So I called Doug Fern one night, and I was like, yo, I believe in what the Lord is doing with young people in PSM. And I know that we have this new satellite church on the east side, and it was called The Spot, and I was like, I want to be a part of that. And I don't know what that looks like right now, but I just need a chance. And he's like, you call me back in a few months and you pray on it. And he's like, if you're serious, you give me that call and we'll talk. And from there, it was a bunch of meetings and like, what does this look like? And making my position to what it was. And then June 1st, actually, next week, I'll be on staff for 2 years. So I got my position sitting in the Encounter Cafe in Iowa City.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
What are you going to do to celebrate your 2-year job birthday?
I am gonna go back home.
Oh yeah.
And probably celebrate with my mom because she was the first person I called. I'm like, I'm working for the church.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I'm gonna go back home.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I've never heard that story before.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks, Mike, for meeting at Encounter Cafe at 7 in the morning. even though he hates mornings.
Yep.
He's
7
not a
a.m.
morning person.
He's
It's
not.
my favorite.
7 a.m. breakfast burritos at
I don't
Encounter
think
Cafe.
Mike comes like online until like 11.
No, he doesn't. Like,
The moral of the story is I'll meet you anywhere at any time to talk about Jesus.
yeah, even at 7 a.m., like he
Yeah.
did. Yeah, he was not. No.
Downtown.
Now that I know him, I will never ask that again.
Before you ask a question, I know that you guys are, those of you that are watching, are just listening to us talk back and forth. But if you have any questions, I know Mike already put it in the chat. But I just really want you to know that you truly can ask us anything. We'll talk about it. And until you do that, we're just going to continue talking to each other. So, your turn, aka my turn.
Yeah, I do have my question, Mike. I wanted to know how you got to Parkview. How did you get?
It was
here?
an interesting ride. So I don't really know how I got to here, but I do remember the night. So Mike, Emma, and Andrew were looking for volunteers.
Mhm.
And believe it or not, I was actually not a Christian when I started volunteering here. So I'm really sorry about that. I thought I was, but I wasn't. They came to crew. I was dodgy. So my freshman year, I would go to a Bible study, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't get involved with large group. It was too much commitment.
Mhm.
I really wanted to do the halfway commitment kind of thing. And then my sophomore year, I decided to stop going to a Bible study because they were getting too real. And I started to go to large group because it's kind of easy to go unnoticed. But they were there one night. The crew has this night every year called the Church Expo,
Mhm.
where it tries to get students plugged into a church where they're known,
Yeah.
and various other opportunities, because like 24/7 kind of like encourages students to come here to come to Parkview. Crew doesn't really have a church that it partners with, and so they really want to make sure that we go wherever we feel comfortable too. And so I will never forget. There were just like churches around. I was walking around, and Emma had pumpkin spice cookies or something like that. And I didn't even want them. Bars. Pumpkin spice bars or something like that. And all I could hear was Mike in Old Brick being like, "We got pumpkin bars! Come over here! Come to the cool table!" And I could see all the churches around were looking at him like, "Youth pastor, that's who that guy is."
With the pumpkin spice.
yeah. And so I was actually with a friend of mine who we were living together, and I was like, "Let's go over there. Like, they got free stuff. Why not?" Rule number one: if you're trying to capture college students, free things, or food.
Specifically.
Food or free things. It's either T-shirt or food will probably stick around. And so they were talking about how you could hang out with kids, and I don't even know. I wasn't really interested, but again, I said yes. So
Yeah.
the Lord really had something here for me. And I started volunteering only Sunday nights. Emma would pick me up from my dorm, so it was like really effortless for me. I just
Yeah.
kind of got to come. And then I accepted Christ that following December, so I was volunteering here for about a month and a half before I became a Christian. And then when I came back after winter break, Emma had told me a couple months later that they could notice a change in me, but I didn't know that that was noticeable. And so they were like, "Yeah, we could just really tell that like something happened and you were like really invested and you really cared." And then last summer they asked me to be an intern. And it blew me away because I was like, "Do you know who you're asking? Like, I've only been a Christian for like a couple of months. Like, do you know what you're doing?"
Yeah.
And so now I'm here. And after I accepted Christ, I decided to start going to church too. And that was like January, February, March, April, May, after mission, August to now. I've been going to church every Sunday. And that's like a new, like I didn't ever grow up. I've only went to church before maybe 4 times,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
That's
So,
wild.
yeah, that's my story. It's pretty interesting. Okay, no questions. We'll do maybe one more each, and then end the stream for today. Let me think. What is your favorite trait about Christ? You can't say all of them. Like, if there's one thing that's specific to Christ in your life that's been very impactful.
Well, it's not hard. Forgiving. I think even now, sometimes struggling to receive forgiveness and what that looks like is just kind of like how you said you thought you were a Christian. And I think we all, at some point, we think like, oh, well, isn't a Christian like going to church and doing these motions? But I feel like those are just things those are healthy habits of a Christian. It doesn't define you as a Christian. But I would say forgiveness. Um, I struggle with like guilt, super hardcore, and not just guilty like oh because I've done something crazy, but just this unhealthy habit of like being unforgiving to myself.
Wow.
So like I could do something like even in my own parenting, like if I've like yelled or just done some, just been super angry, um, I'll get down on myself. And it's like,
Uh-huh.
but there is grace there, and not like this is not me saying go do something wrong
Mm-hmm.
and know that there's grace. No, that is taking advantage of grace, and then that's something at a heart level you need to work out. So
Mm-hmm.
that's not what I'm saying, but knowing that I had a God that one fully knew who I was
Mm-hmm.
inside and out, and knows my heart and every motive of it, and still loves me through my hardest of days. Um, that's comforting, and sometimes that's like it's weird just because it's like even with your parents, it's like your parents always tell you like, "Oh, I love you no matter what." Like you could be like a crazy person and I'll love you, and like my parents have always shown that. But like there are just certain things like with your parents when you're those inner struggles that
Mm-hmm.
you don't share, and it's like, whoa, you were willing to go to the cross like thousands of years ago
Yeah.
before my parents knew me, and you still loved me through that.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's one of those things like, you know what, I love you for that
Mm-hmm.
because um, I want to be able to be that forgiving
Mm-hmm.
and show that forgiveness because I think in even other cultures, shame is a big thing,
Yeah.
and it's like I never knew that in like a lot of Middle Eastern
Yeah.
countries, shame is something that's big, and it's like if you knew who the Lord is, and when it says that, like David says that you knew me in my mother's womb and you formed my
Mm-hmm.
inward parts, it's like we serve a God that knows us that intimately and still loves us, even though we are wicked and undeserving of Him. So that is one of my favorite traits about who the Lord is.
Dang, that was a good one. I definitely that resonated with me on a lot of different levels. I mean, obviously something I struggle with too.
Yeah.
So, cool. Okay, well you can ask me one and then we'll end and
Yeah.
we'll be done for today. I'll give announcements so you can ask
Yeah.
me questions.
My next question for you, Sarah, is when I first met you, I actually met you at the retreat. It was the
fall
spring,
retreat?
nope, spring retreat
The
here.
love retreat
Shazam.
a year ago.
Yeah, a year ago was when we met.
Yeah.
You were going to school to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And
Oh my gosh.
see, that's how like I remember you were going to school to be a doctor. You're like,
Yeah.
I don't have time for a lot of different things, and I'm like, knowing you now because I was there when when Mike and Emma asked you to be on staff.
Yeah.
What made you transition from not pursuing your medical studies?
Okay, it's been a long journey. But yeah, so to give like some back context, when I was in high school, and even in middle school, I felt like I really had to prove my worth. Um, and so a lot of that looked like me carving my own path on my own, to prove my worthiness, not because my parents didn't help me or because my mom didn't make me feel loved or because these guys said that I was nothing or whatever it is. Like, I wanted to prove my worth as sort of like I got to the top of this mountain on my own and none of you helped me. And so when I got to college, I was still on that path or that mindset, even if I didn't know it, of like, I wanted to be a doctor because, as far as my family is concerned, it's the most prestigious thing that you could do. Um, and so I was the only one that was kind of smart enough to go to college on my own and have scholarships and do well in high school and not drop out and not make poor choices to the point where it kind of ruined what that might look like for you as a career. And so I decided that's what I was going to do, truly, to just like feed my ego.
Yeah.
And I did pretty well the first year of college. And then my sophomore year of college, things started to fall off the rails because of the choices that I was making. I really had to answer for a lot of the sinful life I was living. And I could see quickly how spiritually dead I was.
Yeah.
And so I think when the Lord reconciled me to Himself, in the most literal sense that I can ever articulate, I woke up, truly woke up, and I saw like at what point, right? Like if that can't fulfill me, that can't feed me, that's never gonna be enough. I'm gonna then what? Like what's the end goal of being that doctor working and having all of those nice things and all that money and whatever, then what? It's just never going to be enough. And so, but I didn't want to let go. So God was like placing that in my mind, showing that like there is nothing of this world that could ever feed your soul like I can.
Yeah.
And so I kind of was like, okay, I hear you. I'll go on mission. I'll give you that. I'll go on a mission for you. So then I went on a mission. It was really great. And I was having fun. And I could really see the Lord doing a lot of things in a way that I had never witnessed before. And then there was this lady named Carrie Ann. And one of my friends was talking about her dreams after college to join the Peace Corps. Yeah. And Carrie Ann said to her, that's really great, but I hope that you might choose something with ministry. Not that that can't be ministry, but maybe something more like pointed, more with a purpose. Yeah. My friend was like, why? She was like, what good is it if you put Band-Aids on people, but they're spiritually sent a different place? And it just like, that stuck with me. It really did. And so then when I got to campus here last August, I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm still pursuing a doctorate degree and all these things, even though I know I don't want to do that, even though I know it's for a purpose that I was never meant to fulfill, even though I know that it will never satisfy me. Well, maybe I'll volunteer or I'll be an intern, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so then it's like, I'll give you this, God, but I won't give you this. And so then, like, I think it was this, like, last couple of months I've been talking to Mike about, like, you know, do I quit research? What do I do? I feel like clearly, like, my purpose for the Lord is something that I'm really scared about, which is like fully committing to ministry. Because there's not security there. There is because God will provide for you, but you don't know what that's going to look like. And so I quit research, and I'm committing to at least 1 year of ministry after college, whatever that's going to look like. I don't know, because when I think I know, then it's like, hey, maybe you should stay in Iowa City, which you don't want to do. Yeah. And so I think for me, it's been like constantly like, I'll let go of something and then God will be like, no, but I want that other thing too. And I don't know how to handle that kind of stuff because I'm so new here. Like some people are out here like swimming and I've got floaties, right? Yeah. Like I can do the doggy paddle, but I'm headed, I know where I'm headed. God is good and faithful. And I think the more you're willing to admit that you don't have it all together, that you don't know what's next, but the Lord does, and you're okay with trusting that, I think the more you'll actually find like what your purpose is. So I let go of being a doctor over the months periodically with giving up certain things about my future, and then all at once as I've been working here. So I don't really know what that's going to look like, but God does, so I'm letting it go. My family's not super pumped about it, but anyone can wear a stethoscope, but not anyone can really care for someone's soul. So that's me. So yeah, we'll just wrap up. Thank you so much for listening. We are long-winded. We could talk all day. If you ever have any other questions, feel free to DM us on Instagram or Facebook, or our email, which is somewhere on our social medias. Yeah, we also have TikTok too. Check those out. Just something to keep on your radar is the deep dive this Thursday. Mike and Josh are going to be addressing some cool topics. It's going to be really fun. I'm really excited to see what they've gathered. And then
the Bible, how we got it.
Oh yeah.
Books and stuff.
How we got the Bible. What went in, what didn't, why, and how we can be confident in what is in the Bible, front cover to back cover, and its purpose.
I'll be watching.
I will also be watching. I'm really excited. And then Mike has another thing that you'd like me to say.
Oh, it's this thing?
It's this thing. So I can't read it.
We're off
this
Sunday.
Upcoming
Sunday, and then we'll be back doing some things.
Yeah, so this Sunday we're not going to be having PSM live in the evenings, but we'd still encourage you to meet as a small group or to reach out to your friends and talk maybe about what you watched in Big Church that day, or maybe you guys can watch our TikToks together and make fun of us. It's totally fine. But just because we're not gathering for regular programming doesn't mean you can't give it a shot. And you have something you want to say? No, that's it. That's all she wrote.
We miss you.
We miss you. We can't wait to see you soon. We're planning lots of fun things. And we really, really, really hope that you're doing well, relying on the Lord, and having fun. We love you guys. We'll see you later.